Coming up on this episode of the Women's Leadership Mindset Series podcast.
AI is absolutely changing things, right? And it absolutely will take jobs. It's changing all of us. But, manufacturing in the industrial age, when that came through, it changed all of us, right? When the computer came, I was in high school the first time a computer came into a classroom, right? Oh, that was going to change everything. The smartphone, oh, that's going to change everything. So we do go through all of these, right? And every single time there is fear because it is changing, right? And I'll tell your audience what I tell my kids. We don't know what the jobs of the future are, but I can guarantee you when something leaves, something else is coming. It has to sustain whatever is next, right? It just shifts. And that's okay. I see our society more as a global society. I think that is coming. I hope it comes in my lifetime. And I think AI will eventually take care of a lot of human needs for us. Like, think about it. They're going to be our doctors, our medical systems, it's going to be everything, right? So I believe that we are going to be more human. Like, I think of it, it's kind of like the movie Avatar, right? Where we're back in touch with people, with nature. We're already being called back to community, right? We're already being called back to really nostalgic things. And I think some of that is all going to start to come back because we forgot that we're humans and connection and community and culture. And that's why we're so important.
Welcome, leaders, to the Women's Leadership Mindset Series presented by TK Page Enterprises. My name is Teresa Page, and I am your host and looking forward to spending these next few moments with all of you. We have a lot of work to get done on today, but first, allow me to invite you to connect with me by subscribing to my website and to connect and follow me on LinkedIn, YouTube, and other social media platforms. And always feel free to contact me directly via email or by booking an appointment. So what is our goal? Well, as an author, speaker, coach, and mentor, my mission is to help professional women renew their leadership mindset with fresh fire and purpose through diverse mediums of leadership empowerment solutions and the My Journey to Wholeness book series. However, the Women's Leadership Mindset series is a new initiative intended to spotlight powerful women leaders and how they serve the world through their professions and purpose. So with a goal to help women realize their unfulfilled dreams and re-energize the leaders they always were, this platform is designed to enhance, empower, educate, equalize, and even emancipate as our featured guests share their entrepreneurial stories, provide viable resources, and guidance in a caring, professional, and impactful manner. So, let's get down to business. Well, all right, in today's video, it is my pleasure to welcome to my virtual stage Camille L. Miller, MBA, PhD, ABD, who is the CEO of Natural Life Business Partnership and Soul Professional Movement. Camille is a 3-time best-selling author, transformational business strategist, intuitive mentor, and visionary behind the global Soul Professional Movement. With a background in psychology, nonprofit leadership, and strategic business design, she blends logic with spiritual insight to guide midlife professionals in aligning with their deepest calling and creating a purpose-driven life and business rooted in ease and impact. Known for her deep presence, intuitive clarity, and ability to hold expansive space, she leads with both strategy and soul, awakening the leader within each client she serves. So to contact Camille, you may reach her on her website at www.soulprofessional.com. You may also connect with her on LinkedIn at Camille L. Miller as well as on her YouTube page at Camille L. Miller. So we'll bring back this information along with Camille's complimentary gift before we go. But first, I want to say welcome, Camille. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well today. How are you doing?
Doing great. I am so excited about our conversation on today, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to the person that actually connected us, and that was the podcast guest tour strategist and interview leverage method coach, Merlin Kokori of Merlin Marketing of Mexico. So I'm so grateful for her making this connection in between the two of us. So I'm really excited about our conversation on today. So let's go ahead and get into it, get down to business. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself beyond the bio?
Beyond the bio. So my background is in not-for-profit management, which was in the bio. Before I created the company that I'm in now, I was CEO of an organic farming association. And it was in that work that I started to see people that were straddling both sides of their logic brain and their spiritual self, right? They were going through an awakening. This was probably between 2011 and 2015. And I saw a piece of myself there too. Like I pretended to be someone in my corporate role, right? In my business suit and who I was supposed to show up as. And then, in my personal life, I was more of a hippie alternative medicine kind of person, right? I was more leaning towards the spiritual side. And when my job was defunded in 2015, I was trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do next in life? And I was turning 50. I had just divorced, and I was like, money is no longer my motivator. I really want to impact the world. And I loved what I was doing, so I really wanted to stay in that realm. And it was there that I really got a download. This is my intuitive side. I really got a download that I was supposed to create a global community. I didn't know it was global at that time. I thought it would be more like, I'm in the States, so it would be more like the Bar Association or the American Medical Association, but a coming together of people that were bridging the science and soul, right? More holistic businesses. Obviously, since then, it's built quite large. We started off as a little coffee club. And, I would just meet for coffee and tell people my ideas. And it was like New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. We went through the whole Northeast. And then at the end of 2017, I got a call from California. And someone said, oh my gosh, I've been watching you. I can't wait for you to come out here. And I knew in that moment I did not have a scalable model. So as luck would have it, I got the next download of, I heard of this thing called Zoom, and I got a very clear message that would be our future. And I didn't know why, I don't know when. So the thing about my intuitiveness is I have no timeline. I just know, but I don't know when. And now I know we're always about 2 years off. But that was it. So I was convincing everyone, let's go to video. We don't need chapters. This is going to be great. We're going to learn how to do our gifts and touch people all over the world through video. So in 2018, we launched as a no chapter organization. 2019, we went international. 2020, you might remember, a global pandemic. And we just blew up. And since then, we were a paid community. And in the end of 2024, I dropped the paid membership so we could become available to everyone. I wanted to be a resource for every single person to help bring their gifts to the world. And we are community supported today. We're in 6 continents, and we hit our 51st country yesterday. Yeah, we're about 14,000 people, and yeah, we've really grown. It's more than just giving business advice and being an incubator, but it's supporting people in healing circles, in spiritual circles. We have a global prayer now, and all these different things. And I have other facilitators that are helping So it's run as a nonprofit. We are not a nonprofit. We are run just like a nonprofit because that's my background, right? And we constantly are giving back. So we run through donations, and we just recently launched what we call a verified soul professional, SOUL. That's my brand now. Verified soul professional directory, which we're actually vetting people that are to make sure that they're doing what they say they're going to be doing. And you can't buy being vetted. Other people in the community that use your services let us know that you're the real deal. So so it's done that way. And so now we're putting out a directory, and that will also support all of the programming that we put out there. And we also are going back. We're online, but we're also going back to in-person meetings. So I think we have 5 in the U.S. right now, 3 in Canada, and Bali, Indonesia is opening up the end of the week.
Well, wow. I mean, just wow. I mean, we could say amen right here and just go. I tell you, that is so powerful, and I really wanted to be able to get to dig deeper into this massive community that you have created worldwide. It was something that you mentioned earlier, and while you were starting to talk to us beyond the bio, things about yourself. You mentioned how you were starting to bump into individuals who were struggling in between how to show up in the world, whether, they're having that battle between their logical brain as well as their spiritual self.
Yeah.
And I realized that this can be regardless of where the listening audience where they might be as far as their spiritual compass, where they lean in or all of that. But I do believe that we are spiritual beings that's having a earthly experience.
Human experience. Yeah,
I do
absolutely
honestly believe that. And yeah, it is true that we're supposed to, as far as in our work, be able to show up as oneself and all of those other kind of things. And it can be a struggle. As a matter of fact, I had the opportunity to speak to a group just a few days ago, and that was one of the questions that was presented to me as far as how do you blend in your faith beliefs along with your work, and how do you make that work for you strategically. Can you talk to us a little bit about the importance of being able to blend both our logical selves with our spiritual self so that we're able to move through the world as a whole, as one whole person? Being able to access the beauty of all of these sides because we are multidimensional, and why that will help us to fulfill the purpose that we were sent into the world with much more efficiently, with much more success. Can you talk to us why that is so important, regardless of what your personal spiritual beliefs may be? Why is that so important for us?
Yes. So there's a paradigm shift that's literally happening in the world, right? I think it started around 2012, but we're seeing a huge shift this year. And it's been starting, I feel like it's like a rolling wave, right? Where people are awakening and going. And ever since the pandemic specifically, they're going, I think there's more to life than this, right? But I went to school in the early 90s is when I got my MBA. And that was a much different time than it is today, right? We were taught to be a certain way, right? So all professionals were showing up in this mask of what society expected from us, right? Let alone all the other societal things of our cultures, our skin, our belief systems, our religions, there's so many rules, right? And I believe that we're coming into this ever since COVID, right? But we're still coming into it of, wait a minute, I think we're all humans. I think we're all global. I think there's more to this, and people are starting to question the constraints we've been put in. And they're saying, this doesn't feel good, right? And it was being stuck at home during COVID where people were like, oh my God, I've been going to work every day and I didn't realize, what my kids do every day. Or, that the animals that come through my backyard, like the simplest thing, right? So when the doors opened again, people were like, I'm not so sure that those are the people I want to hang with anymore. I'm not so sure that this is where I want to spend my time, right? So life changed. And we're seeing that play out today in a bigger way, right? We're seeing some of our structures falling, right? How we've known things, and we're seeing it in all aspects of life. Structure is falling. The structure that we had built on these kind of false beliefs, right? Because people thought it should be that way. And now people are questioning it. I'm a disruptor by nature. Like I just don't like to do things the way people tell me to do them. So I always questioned, but what if? But what if? But what if? And I think a lot of other people are also questioning. And it used to be more in midlife, right? We always talked about that midlife crisis. I don't think it was a crisis. I think it's more of an awakening, except that it's happening younger now. So our target people were always logically brained and soul led. And that is different for everybody. Sometimes it's just, I think I'm meant for bigger things. Right. But it's everybody. And I think that's what's so important, right? We see doctors and lawyers and CPAs and things that you're thinking are so structured in life, but we also have the healers and the teachers, and they're just going, this isn't what I signed up for. This is not what I thought it would be because of all the rules, right? And they're saying, what else is possible for me right now? And I think that's the biggest thing. What else is possible for me right now? And they're aligning themselves up with other people that are saying, what is possible right now? Right? Our highest energy, our highest vibration is authenticity. The highest vibration. So we find in our community, as people come and just spend time, if it's a healing circle, a soul circle, a business class that I'm teaching, a networking, if you're there for the wrong reasons because you think you're going to penetrate the community, it feels wrong to you because your vibration doesn't match our vibration. And it's been the best self-selector I've ever seen in my life. Like, it just, people know when they're in the right space with the right people, right? Our energies, our vibrations are coming together. And I think that's more what people are looking for right now. They're like, does this feel good in my body? And for the last few years, we've been talking a lot about alignment. We see that word all, authenticity, alignment, right? We see those words all the time. And everyone's throwing them around right now, right? But I believe over this last, I believe since like February, there was a portal in February that I think it kind of opened this door to coherence. Like, it's no longer about the strategy and the alignment. Alignment is where you're going, that direction. Right? Building something that is in the direction you want to go and releasing anything that no longer serves you. That's alignment. Coherence is when your body agrees with it, when your nervous system says, gosh, that feels good. That is my vibration. That, right? And now we are searching for coherence. So there's even more people waking up going, what is this? What is this? Right? And I think like there's a neurodivergent awakening happening too, but because it's nervous system. We're saying, what is this? What is this? What is this? Right? And we're finding each other all over the world. The internet allows us to do this, but it's a beautiful thing that is happening because it's my belief, more than a belief, it's my intuition, that we are moving to a society where there's not going to be big corporations anymore. Things are going to start to break. Thankfully, right? Things are all going to start to break, and we're all going to become our own independent contractors in the world, being who we are in the world, whatever our gifts are, and people will recognize them and they will be credible. And they're saying, wow, I'm going to hire you because you're intuitive or you're psychic or you're a medium, but maybe you're a strategist too, and maybe you're a doctor too, and maybe like you're these other things too. It's seeing that whole person. That's what we're going to look for. And in actually the directory that we're building, it's in beta right now. you can actually search on those different things. Like if you want an MD, but you also want them to be an energy healer, you can search on those things and you can cross-reference things. So I think that is what the world is asking for. You know, as our healthcare system here in the US is breaking, it gives us an opening to try new things. Because if you're going to spend the money anyway, you might as well spend it on a healer that might look at things a little differently, right? So I believe that it's opening doors for us. And there's also a lot of professional people that are searching for their space in the world. And the thing I love more is like when people come over and try us, I say a lot of seekers. You don't know what you're looking for, just come over. It's okay. You don't have to know, right? The seekers come over and they're like, oh, I don't know why, but something feels good here. I'm like, yeah, that's our vibration. And it's okay. You're safe here. So it was really about creating something that's safe in the world, because there's a lot of people that are going to try to break it down.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for giving us some insight there. You really did speak a whole lot of truth about it being a cultural shift or societal shift on the way that we're going to be able to operate as a society moving forward. And a lot of the things that we have depended on throughout maybe the last 50 or 100 years, those things aren't going to kind of dissolve away. Nope. Because of the way the technology is moving and other different things. It's a couple of things that I really want to be able to bring to the forefront. And as far as, you know, especially now, one of the big things now, you talked about authenticity, alignment, coherence, and all of that, but we're also starting to see the dismantling of people losing their jobs. We're starting to see this for one reason or another, whether it's the dismantling of DEI or whether it's the rise of AI.
Yeah.
And it has pushed a lot of people back out into the job market and kind of like, what next? And I think COVID was also probably the forerunner for all of these things, where it just kind of pushed people into these spaces that where, yes, it's creating fear because you now don't know how you're going to eat or how you're going to support yourself and all of those other kind of things. But then after a while, when the fear settles, like you said, people start to think there is more to this. Beyond COVID, but looking at to where things are right now, it seems like the genuine fear is the evolution of AI and how it is dismantling job security for a lot of the human family, especially here in the States or in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Do you believe, based on the work that you're doing right now, that this is also another catalyst to force the human family to evolve? That yes, we may not be no longer a labor society, but that we are going to have to lean in to our innate and divine giftings and abilities to be able to create that economy. And I believe you spoke on that earlier about becoming our individual contractors, being able to do work like that. But do you believe that AI is just one of those other catalysts to really force the human family that it's time for us to be able to be more successful, but in a different way, where we're not necessarily employees, but that then we may become, like you mentioned, contractors or employers to create other opportunities for other people? What are your thoughts on that? And I hope the question was clear. I know it was long, but I hope it was clear.
There's a couple layers to it. AI is absolutely changing things, right? And it absolutely will take jobs. It's changing all of us. But, you know, manufacturing in the industrial age, when that came through, it changed all of us, right? When the computer came, I was in high school the first time a computer came into a classroom, right? Oh, that was going to change everything. The smartphone, oh, that's going to change everything. You know, so we do go through all of these, right? And every single time there is fear because it is changing, right? And I'll tell your audience what I tell my kids. We don't know what the jobs of the future are, but I can guarantee you when something leaves, something else is coming It has to sustain whatever is next, right? It just shifts. And that's okay. I see our society more as a global society. I think that is coming. I hope it comes in my lifetime. And I think AI will eventually take care of a lot of human needs for us. Like, think about it. They're gonna be our doctors, our medical systems, it's gonna be everything, right? So I believe that we are going to be more human. Like, I think of it, it's kind of like the movie Avatar, right? Where we're back in touch with people, with nature. We're already being called back to community, right? We're already being called back to really nostalgic things. And I think some of that is all going to start to come back because we forgot that we're humans and connection and community and culture. And that's why we're so important, right? It's really interesting. I come from an Italian family, and we were brought up in an Italian area, and and I remember stories of my family going through the Great Depression and what that was like, and selling off stuff, and all of that. And it's interesting, as we're starting to do this, I'm teaching my kids some of our recipes. And I was like, these came from these times. Let me teach you how to cook rice and how to cook beans and how we soak things. Like, let's go back to how we can things. How do we garden? How do we, right? I was like, because you want to be self-sufficient, but we can also build community around these things, because someone else might have peppers and you might have cucumbers and right? And this is how we start to build community again. I think that we're going to go back to that. I really, really do, in a beautiful way. And I think the way we see work will change in the future. All right. Right now, it looks scary. And I can tell you, as an older woman, that, as you know, I'm single. As I'm starting to retire, I was like, I don't have the funds because I was a single mom. Right. That my kids were the most important thing to me, and making sure they had a good life. Right. That I gave them a good foundation, which put me a little bit behind the eight ball as I'm starting, right? So I'm probably never going to retire. But I also have this feeling and almost a knowing that everything's going to be okay, because it's not the world that I live in today. Not only that, I think a lot of women are going to come to power, right? And they're nurturers and collaborators by design, right? So we'll have healthcare, we'll have safety, we'll have community, we'll have all of that again, right? That is the shift that's happening. And I'm certain of it. And I keep hearing, it's quick, it's so quick. And I was like, how quick? Like next year? Like, how quick are we talking? But we're seeing the breakdown of everything now. But everything's done by design, right? It looks like chaos. I'm stealing this from Bruce Lipton. He says, if you were to stand at the top of Grand Central Station during rush hour, which is a busy train station and transportation hub in New York City, if you don't know, and you just watched people running, right? Running for this train, running for that train, and it just looks like chaos. But the truth is, everyone is running in a pattern to their next step. And it's a pattern. If you watched the pattern, and if you watch that pattern Monday through Friday, it's exactly the same, right? Everyone's moving in their pattern. So what looks like chaos to us now is actually a pattern of what we are building next. So you don't need to have fear around it. If you hold in your heart, oh my gosh, everything is possible. Everything is possible for me right now. I'm so excited to see what happens, and try to stay out of that fear. I know it's hard, right? But for those listening, if we can move our vibration to excitement about what is possible, we will start to build what is possible.
Absolutely. And I absolutely love that. And thank you for leaning into that question that way. Hi there, leaders. Thank you so much for listening in to our conversation on today. I want to take a quick pause to share with you something very special. Through my company, Teresa K. Page, MBA, I am committed to deliver leadership empowerment events with valuable and practical content that will equip leaders in realizing their unfulfilled dreams and goals. That's why it is my joy to cordially invite you to the International Authors Expo. As a celebration of literature and creativity from around the world, this event is designed to connect published authors, aspiring authors, and book lovers in a virtual setting to explore books, attend masterclass workshops, participate in Q&A panels, shopping, and so much more. Now accepting applications, this new initiative is created for authors to showcase their literary work, talent, and expertise on a global stage. But this event is not just for authors. Guest tickets are now available for our family, friends, and colleagues looking to enhance their writing, speaking, and communication styles, or looking for their new favorite read, or perhaps they're a retailer looking for something unique to brighten up their retail shelves. So, for complete event, author application, and guest ticket details for the upcoming event, visit teresakpage.squarespace.com/International Authors Expo. Or you may also follow me at Teresa K. Page, MBA.eventbrite.com. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to engage with the global literary community. I believe I have another question that's coming up.
That's okay.
I need another bunny trail because you just mentioned about women coming to power. And I think that is so poignant, especially now here in the United States and in so many other places around the world. It seems like that there's an concerted outward movement to take women backwards instead of propelling women forward. What would you say? And we're going to get into to talk more about your movement, the Soul Professional movement, in just a moment. But I do want us to take a moment to talk to the women who are in the listening audience. Statistically, there is about 3.4 million women here in the United States who are actively unemployed. Majority of those women are either women of color. In addition, there's also women that's in our peer group, midlife peer group, where they're finding themselves in this space where they no longer have their job security or economic security because of they've been pushed out of their jobs one way or another as a result of some government decisions and different things like that. So we're not going to get into the political side of that. However, we can't deny the fact that this is what's actually happening. And a lot of the women, I know that your work initially started out with that midlife awakening, but and some things might be happening for our younger adults, but for the women that's in our age class, I would say, what would you say to them who are in this space that they may be in their late 40s, early 50s? They're too old to, I won't say old, but they're too mature and too seasoned from a experience point of view to take on anything that might be entry level. But at the same time, they're still way too young to consider anything as far as like actual retirement, as far as what we know retirement to be, because that's still some time off into the distance, at least another 10, 15 years. What would you say to women right now? What would be some practical tools as they're learning, trying to navigate this space and the fear wears off? What would be some practical tools that you would give to women to help them to rebuild where they are right now, whether it is the convergence of their logical brain and their spiritual self to create something brand new, or whatever else is on your heart based upon your expertise? What maybe 2 or 3 practical tips would you give them to help them move forward?
There's a few things. The first thing I tell anyone to do, like if they were a client, they were coming to me, I would say, write down everything that you love, right? And use a pen. It is very important that you write with a pen and not on a computer or your notes app. Write with a pen and piece of paper, because your brain actually is wired differently when you free flow with a pen, right? It's very important to write with a pen. A skill that's missing today. But write with a pen all the things that you'd love to see, right? In your next job or your next phase of life. It could be, quiet mornings. It could be in a certain field. It could just be doing a hobby you love, right? It could be gardening. It could be taking care of children. Whatever it is, right? It could be fixing motors. I don't know what it is, right? But write what you would love to see, and don't let your brain say that's not possible, right? Write it before your brain says no. Anything that's possible, what you would love to see, who you'd love to be around you, the hours maybe you'd want to work, where you'd want to live, right? If you'd like to travel, like that's one of the things I'd love to do, right? Is travel more. And then in another column or another sheet of paper, write all of your non-negotiables. What will you not allow to come back in? Right? That could be, I'm not going to work weekends because I want to be with my kids. I'm not going to allow some toxic friends in or family in or behaviors, whatever that looks like, right? Or it could just be something that you're over. Like I was a nurse and now I don't want to be in nursing anymore, but I love medicine, or I loved working with the elderly, or right? Whatever that looks like, it is all okay. All okay, right? And then it's a matter of looking at these things and saying, what can I build from these two columns, right? That's usually where I'm helping just say what is possible. Because a lot of times in our brain, we go, no one's going to pay me for that. You'd be amazed at what people will pay you for. And I think this is the new future. This is what we call the soul professional. People that are blending these two worlds and saying, this is possible. I know a psychiatrist that, an MD psychiatrist that used Tibetan chanting and has had a lot of success with patients. Of course, that's not covered by insurance, right? And there's like laws that stop people from doing things like that. But these are the things that we're seeing help, right? These blending of worlds, because you're really good at this and you're really good at that, right? And there are things that will come up and don't be afraid to try something new. I think especially for women, we're going to create bigger communities. I'm having some incredible conversations with women my age, I'm 58, about what is next. What is next, right? It's very costly for me to live in a home alone, right? It's really not possible today. So what does the next phase look like? And I think it is a blending of community, right? Well, I'm good at this and you're good at this and you're good at this. Why don't we all create a community together? Something in safety. And I think that's what's going to happen. So it's going to bring our cost of living way, way, way down, right? But you also have things, and I'm thinking of this myself, so I'll put it out there. I love children, but my children are all grown. But I'm not yet a grandma. My oldest is getting married next week.
Oh,
right? And I was like, can I be like a grandma for hire? Like, I would love to have kids. Like, I'm also thinking, what's the insurance like? Like, who's going to hire a babysitter, right? But that was something I would love to do. And I'm sure there's young families that need that, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like a blending of what do you need? What can I provide? Right? And it's an exchange. And money is an exchange. Money is energy. We call it currency because there's a current, right? When you start to hold money or be afraid of money, you're blocking that current. And I know it's scary right now. It's scary for me too, right? Because I'm changing. And it's how do I keep that current flowing? It flows from you, it flows from me, and then I give it to somebody else, right? My car breaks down, I pay my mechanic pays his supplier, that supplier pays the worker on the line. That worker pays for bread for his family. Like it just goes and goes, right? And it's very important that the currency keeps going, right? That's our lifeline. So it's thinking of things like that without our mind telling us that's not possible, because everything is possible, right? People can make jewelry. I know someone making infused oils right now on the side, right? And these little things. And I'm like, this, in my belief, this is going to be our new currency. We are going back to the way things were, because it was a good life back then, right? But not for everybody. But I think the community and the love and the respect, but now I think we're better humans, right? And I believe that we're going to more of a global vision, right? Because I grew up probably like in small communities. We knew what was in front of us, right? Everybody my age. We knew what was in front of us. That's what we were taught. That's what we knew. Those are the people we hung out with. Our families had their friends, and that was it. Like we didn't really travel, go far. Like we didn't see what was happening in other parts of the world, right? I didn't know people were really that different until I went to college, right? I saw things, but it's different. I heard stories of things, but it was very different. Today we have the internet. I had global children. If my children didn't understand something, they got on the internet and talked to somebody in that country and said, what's it like for you? And I don't think we had that kind of knowledge until COVID, because I had video business by then. So I would talk to people on video. My first thing was, can you tell me what it's like for you?
Yeah.
Right. And even in the States, every single state was different. Right? Every country was different. We all had different rules. We all had different things happening. And it was a point of similarity, right? A point that we all were doing the same thing in that moment. What's it like for you? What's your family doing? What are the games you're playing? Like, can you take a walk? Right? And I remember watching on TV the war in the Ukraine, and watching mothers with babies and children running. And my heart was breaking, because I'm like, that's a mother. And I can touch the heart of every single mother wanting to protect their children, their family. Like, I can't even imagine what it would be like to lose a child, or to be that scared, or where do you go, right? So it made it more of a level playing ground, because that's a mother, and she's a mother, and she's a mother. Like, that is all the same. Right? I feel that way with animals too, right? Like, it's just, that is something that I understand. So I think that type of understanding is because of this globalness, right? And we are becoming more human. And I believe that the future is more heart-centered. It's more of, we're all the same. It's us. We are the human race. What are we doing now? How are we caring for each other? Right? And I think the lines, these borders that we have now, will eventually blur. We're going to go through a lot of destruction first. Don't get me wrong. This ain't happening tomorrow. But I think that's what we're pulling towards, right?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for expressing all of that, and for giving women some tools to help rebuild. Whether it is, I like the way you said to write down everything that you love, especially that, and what you would love to see in this phase of life, and to write it down in a pen, and to write it down before your brain can say no.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. And also being able to detail their non-negotiables, and what they no longer want to see, and also taking into consideration and not being surprised by what people will actually pay you for. And then to understand that we are moving back into a global community, that is going to be so cool. And that technology, the way that a couple of silver linings that COVID did bring was being able to make the world smaller. That we're able to engage with people regardless of time zones or continents or what part of the world that they're in, and that we're able to do business differently. And I would love a world where we can have community go back to maybe some of the basic things that we were used to, but maybe without the racism and the genderism.
Agreed.
If we can get rid of the trashy stuff, we could definitely move into a world that maybe not be utopian, definitely livable and so much more enjoyable. And like you said, so we could be more human. Now, Camille, I'm really enjoying our conversation on today. As we prepare to downshift, I want you to talk about a couple of things. One is the soul professional movement. You've already given us the big picture about it,
Yeah.
but maybe take us on the inside, what people who will join into this community, this global community, what they're to expect coming up. And I also want you to talk a little bit about your books, that you are a three-time best-selling author. So I want you to talk about those two things for us as we prepare to downshift. Take us inside the soul professional movement, what people are to expect, and also take us in between the lines of the books that you've written.
Sure. Thank you. So the Soul Professional Movement is a global network. It is completely free, and it's to help people like you and I and your listeners that are seeking, that are both logically brained and soul led. And it doesn't matter if you have a job or not. It's just wanting something more and connecting with those people all over the world. There is a pledge online, and one of those points of the pledge is to be a good global citizen and help each other rise. It's about collaboration. It's about what if. It's about, once you write those columns, maybe having someone to talk to about it and saying, this is what's in my columns. What do you see? Right? Because as Napoleon Hill said, that third mind is called the mastermind. When two people come together, there's always a third mind that's created, and that's called the mastermind. You could not have come up with the idea on your own, but when two minds come together, you think higher, right? That's where the word mastermind came from. And
Okay.
that's a part of it. It's about meeting other people that are having the same awakening and saying, what's possible here? And that's what the movement is about. There's a pledge online. We have healing circles and soul circles and facilitators and global prayers and business classes, and lots of it is free, and networking and, just about our mission is to help everyone bring their gifts to the world. And that gift can be absolutely anything. Could be a logical gift, could be a spiritual gift, could be a combination of the two. Right? Because every single one of us is unique in our own way, and that's what we are celebrating. Every single one. There is no competition. Right? What was the second one? Oh, my books. So I wrote a 3-part series. You do not have to read 1, then 2, then 3, although if you're building a business, it does make sense. It's called the Ultimate Guide series. The first one is the Ultimate Guide to Creating a Soul-Aligned Business. And one of the strategies in there is those 2 columns that I just told you about. That is written in there. So it's, how are you creating a business? How are you coming up with the idea of what's possible and what's next for you? The second book is the Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Successful Soul Professional, which means now that you've created the business, how are you getting the clients? How are you building it? How are you scaling it? How is it supporting you in life? Right? Because it's one thing to create it, but then you got to get the money, right? And we all need to create money in the world, because that's how we create impact. And the third book is called The Ultimate Guide to Leaving Your Legacy. And it's about thinking through, what is the legacy you want to leave in the world? How do you want to be remembered? And to start building that intention into what you're building in the world, right? So mine is obviously the Soul Professional Movement. It's something I'm leaving to the world, right? That's my legacy. So it's uniting people in this way, and that's my intention behind it. So in all 3 of those books, I talk about, my own struggles, my own things, my marriage, my divorce, my all of it. It's all in those books. And those can be found on Amazon. And I'm writing a 4th book now called The Rise of the Soul Professional, which is this paradigm change that I'm talking about in the world right now.
Well, that's pretty cool, and thank you for giving us some insight on the books. And we're glad that we'll be able to find those on Amazon. We're going to make sure that we get this into the bio so that the audience is clearly aware. And The Rise of the Soul Professional. When should readers be expect to see this new book?
So not till 2027 at the earliest, because I've only written some of it. And I thought I was going to take off this summer and write, but now I'm building the directory, and it's always right. But
Well, we'll keep an eye out on that, and so we're going to also make mention that new work coming into the bio. So we look forward to seeing that in 2027. Well, I tell you, Camille, as we prepare to wrap up, and I'm loving our conversation on today. You know, one of the things that I love to ask all of my featured guests is that I want, of course, as you know, when we had our one-on-one, that you found out about me, that I am passionate about employing love as that ultimate success factor, to renew transformational leadership mindset with fresh fire and purpose. And I believe that the effective power of love is a game changer, that gives us an edge to be innovative in business, fully present for our stakeholders, knowledgeable in our industry trends, benevolent in our community service, but above all, powerful in leadership. So with this understanding, can you share with us what kind of leader you are? I believe you may have answered it earlier that you are heart-centered, but I might be wrong. So why don't you lay out for us, how would you describe yourself as far as what type of leadership style that you have?
yeah, so yes, I am unbelievably heart-centered. I'm collaborative. So I always like to listen to what everybody else is. I never think I'm the smartest one in the room. I do have an ability to facilitate and see what others can't, right? I see like the gaps in the world. That's what I see. Getting to that gap, like filling it, like I can come up with the vision, but I am not the detailed person to get us there. So I surround myself with the brilliance. And I'm more of the catalyst, the ringleader, to get everyone buying into the same vision and being able to hold that vision so everyone, works at their peak. But I'm also a leader that leads from behind and puts the other people before. That's my nonprofit work. When you're a nonprofit, you're never a big leader, right? It's all about the cause and letting those that lead in that, like your board and your donors and all of those, shine first. And that's really the kind of leader I am. I want to bring other people to the forefront.
Absolutely. And I love that. And how would you say that love has shaped you as the heart-centered, collaborative, closing the gaps, the catalyst, the ringleader, as well as the leader from behind? How would you say that love has shaped you to be this kind of diverse leader?
I want to say that love starts with yourself. And I had to do a lot of work after my divorce to love myself. And then I didn't have to control anything. I didn't have to be anything to anyone. I can just recognize love in everybody else, right? But you have to find it in yourself first. So that I've always been a kind, caring person. I've always been kind of the same leader, but love is so much deeper, right? And I do shoot from the heart. I'm also very logically brained. So I want to help everybody, but my logical brain is like, you can't help everyone. You can only help the people that want to also help themselves, right? So I can't save everybody. And that's kind of hard. But also a realization that I had to understand very, very early of I can only help those who want to rise.
Absolutely. And I love that. And with wanting to help other people to rise, how will future generations beyond today, the next 1,000 generations from now, how will they benefit from the work that you're doing today?
Well, hopefully the world will be a nicer, kinder place, right? I'm expecting it to be well blended by then and just be we're all earthlings, right? We're just all the same. Like there's, by that time we're going to be so blended. I would hope to gosh, right? That we are going to just be a blended person. Um, and I would hope that, thousands of years ahead, right? Life would be so different. But I'm hoping it really kind of goes back to, caring about our resources and nature and all the animals and all the other things that I think that we've forgotten for a while.
Yep,
And restoring our planet, I think is really important.
absolutely.
Yeah. We have a long way to go
Absolutely.
though. We were pretty destructive.
Absolutely. But even in all of that, I believe that there is a silver lining. I think with this awakening that individuals are having, that we will turn our hearts back to understanding
Absolutely.
how we need to be respectful guardians over this world that we were given. So we can leave a more peaceful place and sustainable place for the next 1,000 generations. So
Absolutely.
I'm hoping we'll start to see some things in this lifetime. Now, Camille, you have provided a complimentary gift to our listening audience on today. It is a workbook guide on how to become a soul-led business owner and to learn to lead your life with purpose. Tell us a little bit about this special gift that you're giving our listening audience today.
Yeah, anyone can pick it up. It's really easy. You can go to the website, my website, and get it, which is soulprofessional.com, and it's a pop-up. But I wrote it more as like journal questions, right? So I'm asking you questions for you to think about, just like the two columns, right? And bringing out what you're actually thinking subconsciously, bringing that to life so you can see it. And it's all about really automatic writing, of just writing out the answers to the questions without thinking about it. And it leads you to what is more real for you. Not what you're doing now, but where are you supposed to be in the world? So no matter where you are, even if you already have a business, even if you already know what you think your purpose is, I would do it just to kind of see what's possible, right? Because we always are moving forward no matter where we are.
Absolutely. And I love that. So we're going to make sure we get this information into the file so our listening audience can listen to it and also be able to connect with you directly. So thank you so much for this special, special gift. Now, Camille, our time has come to the end. I really, truly enjoyed our conversation and our time on today. Thank you for being so open and so giving, as well as willing to educate us along the way. So what would you say are your final words that you would like to leave us with that would carry us forward from today throughout 2026 and beyond?
I'll leave you with a question. What if it all turns out way better than you could have ever imagined?
With that, what if it all turns out better than you could ever imagine? You know what? I think that's for me, Camille.
Aww.
I think that is for me because there's some certain steps that I need to take, and I've been hesitating, like, what if it doesn't work? But what if everything that I've ever wanted in life is on the other side of that step? So thank you, and that's I'm gonna take that one for me.
Aw, good. I'm glad.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Camille. It was such an honor to have you on today. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me, Teresa.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to say thank you for joining us. Remember, you can connect with Camille by visiting her website at www.soulprofessional.com and also connect with her on LinkedIn at Camille L. Miller, as well as on YouTube at Camille L. Miller. And don't forget to take advantage of her complimentary gift, How to Become a Soul-Led Business Owner and Learn to Lead Your Life with Purpose. You may access this by visiting the website www.soulprofessional.com. And listen up, don't forget to also lean into Camille's The Ultimate Guide series. You may find all 3 of these books on Amazon, and we're going to be sure to put that information in the bio. Now, leaders, do you have an important story to tell that would inspire others to step into their dream career or business? If so, check the bio to learn how to become one of my special guests. So we want to say thank you all for joining in for another episode of the Women's Leadership Mindset series. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, here's to the journey, and let's move forward.